it's a bit of a long one.
Smart Train Philippines.
Smart Train Philippines. Okay,
Yep.
cool. Hey, g'day guys. Kristen Harper, Harper Consultancy. And this evening I'm talking with Glen Morrison from Smart Train Philippines. Glen, how are you, mate?
I'm very good, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Tell me about
Excellent.
Smart Train Philippines.
Well, it's yet to start, but
See what I did?
in the next month, we'll be kicking off in the Philippines with some great salespeople, great delivery people,
Yeah.
a great general manager. To me, it's always about the quality of the people you find. And
Yeah.
a few months ago, I got introduced to a small team of people who it just felt right to set up a training consulting business again.
Yes.
And I'd love to do something in Southeast Asia to give back to the people there who've been so good to me. So
cool. Awesome.
yeah, that's where it all started.
Yeah. Nice. And what's your background, Glen? You take me through that?
My background?
Yeah.
We agreed that I was going to interview you tonight, so I got a sheet of questions here, my friend.
Well, you've been prepared for it. Hey, I guess for any
prepared, mate.
I guess from the context of the like we did obviously our first video last week, which was about half an hour. The context of doing these videos is really more real talk around sales, and just talking about I think some of those things that I think in my experience and maybe yours as well is that sometimes a lot of people don't talk about, especially sales leaders. And the context is every time we catch up, we'll do about 10 minutes or whatever it may be, and just have a subject. So if there's anybody else that's watching that wants, would like us to cover a certain topic, then please comment. So Glen, I haven't scripted anything, so hope questions.
Well, let me kick off then. So it's been a while since you and I worked together. So I thought I'd like to ask you a few questions about your journey in sales. Since we were working together. So from your history in sales, what do you think is the biggest learning that you've had?
Resilience.
Okay. Why do you say that?
I guess when I first started in sales, I thought I could get in there and I thought, look, I'm a nice guy. Yeah, people will buy from me. I'll get on with everybody. And, when I first started out, I lost a lot of deals. And that was pretty tough. I sort of didn't expect that, and over those years, I just sort of every time I had a loss, I'd go back to the client or the prospect, and I'd sit down and I'd just understand how I lost, and started learning as I went because I'm a wee bit competitive and I don't like losing. So I think resilience, obviously, it's the first thing that come to mind, and I guess it's put me in good stead now. Whereas anything I do now, I just don't give up. Just keep going, and if it doesn't work one way, then I'll try another way and just keep going. Yeah, a no's not never a no, but it's just you just got to try a different approach.
So that's really unusual for somebody to say they went back to the customer to find out why they weren't successful. What made you think of that?
Actually, the guys I used to work with, who I ended up competing with, they used to do the same thing as well. And, my old mentors, when I was back in the day at Ubix, my old mentors, 4 of them that 2 of them went to Rico, and then the other 2 went to Sharp, all within a space of about a month. So all the accounts that they'd left, they started, going after, and, I was like under fire, left, right and centre, and I hadn't really probably managed too many accounts. So, and like I said, man, I'm competitive. I don't like losing. I'll just go back and sit down. And I think one thing that I learned in doing that is that people respected you more. And I found some of those ones that I did go back to and lost deals to, I actually got them the next time that they upgraded. Right. And for me, I was just learning. I want to learn. I want to learn how to beat you.
Okay.
I think my league days coming out of me.
So how long have you played league for?
I was playing from when I was about 4 until about 24. But I had when I was playing footy, like I think from about 14 to 18, I didn't play, and then got back into it. And then I always had sort of quite big breaks in between. But ended up before I finished up, played premiers down in Canterbury, and played at a pretty good level. We won a couple of grand finals down there, and then went over to Aussie, moved over to Sydney, and started playing a wee bit of the local league there. But then I was young, I liked to party, so when I first got over there, let's be fair, I just spent a bit more time hanging out with my mates and just having a bit of fun.
So were you selling in Sydney?
No, my background's actually in hospitality. So when I
drinking in Sydney.
Yeah, well, pretty much. I was having a good time. So when I was about when I left school, I ended up doing a chef's course. So I became a chef for about 3 years, and then after chefing, I got into cafe management and managed some bars and cafes in Sydney, and did that for about 4 years. And funnily enough, I fell into IT, business intelligence of all things, going from managing a cafe into that. But it was actually my partner at the time was in that, so I ended up working with them. And I'd learned a lot. I went from not really knowing a computer to helping design sort of databases and that. So it's interesting that getting into the sales role that I've got into, it's always been pretty technology focused.
What did you find the biggest differences between working in Sydney and working in New Zealand?
Sydney, I'll be very careful of my words here because we just spoke about this before. As Sydney, there's a hell of a lot of opportunity. I found over there that Kiwis do really well because they work really hard, and I'm not saying that our Aussie counterparts don't, but they don't. And I found over there it was easier, and I would suspect, and I'm making an assumption here, probably from a sales point of view, probably a wee bit easier because I think with New Zealand is such a small market, you've got so many players that are all going after that same amount of business, so it's super competitive. But from what I understand, and I've had friends that have sold overseas, is that you've got a bigger pool, you've got a lot more accounts. It's competitive, but not as competitive. You'd probably be best to answer that because obviously you'd worked over there from a sales point of view as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think New Zealand is a great place to learn how to really look after your customers and achieve the best results. I agree with you. Aussies can be, I don't want to say lazy, but it's a little bit easier. It's the lucky country, isn't it? There's money going on. So, so hey, why did you started your own business? So why did you start your own business, and why the whole consulting business?
No, I just got sick of working for people. I know I want to that was one part of it. I want to sort of do things the way I want to do them, and over the years I've had a lot of managers and all that where and my partner says the same. I don't like being told what to do. I never have. So that was one part of it. Look, I think after working so long in sales, I got pretty good at it. And I think one of the biggest things I identified in nearly any business that I go into, I've got a really good feel for the business as soon as I walk in, from the reception to how the people treat you, to the communication with the business owners, because obviously after so long in sales, you learn a lot about body language and I guess people and all those sort of things. So I could identify very quickly when walking to a business, I guess where they need that sort of help. So obviously being pretty competitive, I like sales, and I think a lot of business owners are pretty passionate about what they do, but a lot of them I feel grapple when it comes to sales. And when I talk about sales, I think sales is an outcome to all the work that you do, from a business development point of view, from the leadership side of running your team and running your business, to having unique sort of selling points. And I think one thing about sales is I get all of it. So if I come in and I talk to a client, after a conversation, I generally get a good feel for where they may need help. So I started my first consultancy about six years ago. And just after I moved to Auckland, I didn't have any client base. So I didn't actually know too many people in Auckland, and I'd moved up and I'd gone to another company. I didn't really enjoy it, so I got out there and shit, it was hard. But what I did do is, one of the things I've done really well in the past is I know how to leverage networks. So being that I'm a Ngāi Tahu and of Māori heritage, I went through Te Puni Kōkiri, which is there to help Māori business owners and entrepreneurs. And I got given a mentor, and part of working with them is they'd started giving me people that I could actually mentor and coach as well. So I looked at where I could sort of find channels and companies and associations that had people that I could work with. So rather than that, I'm not just about, here's a product, try and go and sell it. There's a whole lot of other ways that you can do that, and it's leveraging networks. There's a number of other different plays that you can do. And I just love being, I guess, just being creative, just trying different things. And, what have you got to lose? Unless you put a lot of money into it, then obviously you got that to lose. But I try to mitigate all those risks as much as I can. So
just thinking about that, then, who's your ideal client?
Who's my ideal client? So I've got a couple of, I've probably got 3 personas that I've been working on. And this has been a really big learning for me as well. And it's been a very big learning probably in the last couple of months, actually. So the 3 that I'm working on, sort of number 1 is the Māori business sector. Because I've been part of the Auckland Māori Business Network for the last 6 years. It's something that I'm really passionate about. It's something that I'm really passionate about, helping Māori in business to succeed and grow their business. And growth comes from sales. So that's one part of it. But for me, that's a longer term play. So I've got a few things that I'm currently working on that later on down the track will I've got a bit of a vision of where I want to go with that. The one that I've been focusing on for the last sort of 6 months is the ICT, IT software sector. And the reason I focus on that, Glen, is obviously with my background in selling copiers. I've been selling technology for a number of years. I've always been dealing with IT people, and I guess technical people. So I've got a very good idea of actually how to sell to them. And in my experience, a lot of technical people aren't very good salespeople. So for me, it was a bit of a natural one to get into. And when I was selling the copies, we were selling business process software or business automation process software. So part of doing that was, I get how to sell that as well. So that's why I went after the IT and software sector. But what I found with that, it's super competitive. A lot of my competitors are going for them, and which is fine. That competitive stuff doesn't worry me. But being a new business, not having a lot of that marketing automation and all those sort of stuff it's just taking its time. So what I've identified in the last couple of months is I've actually got really clear on the type of company, the type of people. So what I'd worked out is the type of industries I don't really want to work with, and it's like FMCG, low sort of cost goods, because my experience has really been more in high value sort of items that have a service component and have a sales and service component. So I thought I need to stick with something that I'm really good at, and although my skills are transferable, I'm looking at where can I make the biggest impact quicker. And I've identified smaller sales teams, so working 3 to 4, and where I'm working with the business owner who's grappling with the sales, doesn't really have any sales leadership within the team, and assisting them on their sort of journey, whether it be lead generation, whether it's training their team, whether it's helping them negotiate, or all of the above. And the areas that I've sort of identified are the sort of manufacturing, companies that are selling sort of, like I said earlier, high ticket items, like fork trucks and those sort of types of industries. And the reason I'm targeting those as well is I feel that it's less competitive. But again, I'm making a bit of an assumption, because generally salespeople in these roles compared to in the city of Auckland are generally getting paid 20 to 30 grand less. So the well-paid ones are generally in those sort of the software sector and that side of it. So So it's been a real learning for me because it's stuff that I teach people that I'm working with, but I've really had to do what I'm actually doing. So the thing is with me, Glenn, is I think, as you know, like I'm pretty upfront. I know if I'm not doing something right, then I'll address it and then just move on. You know, I think nobody's perfect, and it's I think if you're upfront, if you're honest, people want to see that, and it's a good way to qualify people as well.
It pays dividends long term. If they don't like you and they don't want to work with you, well, let's move on, do something else.
Life's too short.
So, explain to me what it means to be a Harper Consulting client. What am I going to feel like at the end of the process in a year's time? What do you want me to feel like?
Oh, geez, that's a good question. I didn't expect that one. Happy, ecstatic, lots of money in your pocket. Look,
I mean, seriously, that is exactly what you would want one of your clients to feel. That was really worthwhile. I got a lot out of it. My business has improved.
Yeah.
I bought a new car. I'm on the way up.
So I think that that's one side of it. So obviously the outcomes, and I've got to stop saying obviously because I've noticed I'm saying that a lot. What the outcomes that I want them to achieve is more sales, more revenue coming to the business. At the end of the day, that's really the main part of it. But also, less stress. Having a more cohesive team. Having a better culture. And although I'm not coming in to change the culture, I'm coming in to just work with them to change things for the better and create a culture of success. And a culture of success looks like is when we're winning, we're all winning. If you lose a deal, then how did we lose a deal? It's making those small changes because generally sometimes, as you know, if somebody's lost a deal or whatever, then it's really hard to turn that around. It's just understanding how to do that. And the more people are winning, the happier people are within the organization. You've been part of those branches before where the branch isn't doing that well, and then there's more stress on the sales staff, there's more stress on the service staff because shit isn't happening when it's supposed to be. Then it's just got that flow-on effect, and then people are going home unhappy. So it's really creating that culture of success is happiness within the organization, is an outcome from creating that success. I guess those are the things. I want to, at the end of 12 months, I'd like to, I'm very much I'd like clients for life. So if there's any ways that I can assist from a consultancy point of view, a couple of years down the track or wherever it may be, then if we've created those results, they're happy, then we'll always have that relationship. And I think that comes from me being from Christchurch. A lot of the clients I've had down there when I was living down at home is that they'll be clients for life. So there'll be people that I still stay in contact with now. And as I've got older, as I've had my son, that's just become so much more important to me. And Craig, life's too short, mate. Life's too short to be doing shit you don't want to do. And that's a big part of what spurred me to get into running my business, as well as just creating something I can be proud of. Creating I'm not saying a legacy, but just creating something that I don't think anybody's done before, but just doing it in the way that I'm doing. I don't feel that there's too many doing it this way.
That's really cool. That's great.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you for the feedback. I enjoyed that.
Cheers. I'm just kidding. I'm getting ready for the other ones.
No, it's all my questions. Look, I've run out.
I actually thought you would have typed them up.
No, I find if you just do things off the top of your head, you get 80% of it in the first few minutes anyway. So
yeah.
Otherwise, you can stare at a bit of paper for another hour and not get a lot more.
Yeah, exactly. But no, thank you for that, mate. It was different. Like I said, I didn't expect that when we got on the call.
No worries. So you can probably cut that, and then if you want to go into to try one more, we can. You can have a go this time and ask me some questions.
Yep, sweet. And I haven't bloody. Cool. I can do that. So.
Do you want me to stop and start a new one, or you want me
to... let's do that, because then that way I can just stop. Okay. What I'll do is I'll put the other one and then I'll just stop it and then cut it. Yeah, what am I doing?
Okay, so I'll stop that.
Yep. Cool.
Okay.